What's good? It's your boy CJ Goodfella back with the boxing clinic. Back with my top pound for pound top 10 list. Currently, this is basically how I see it, and I'll address everything about it and who's on it and who's not on it. Thank you for rocking out with us, of course. Supporting the channel, supporting the Facebook page, supporting the boxing clinic movement. And if you got any questions or want me to do some shows, whatever, collaborations, you can PM me on Facebook, hit me up in the YouTube inbox, or just comment on the thread, or PM me through the boxing clinic page on Facebook. But let's start pretty much from the top. Andre Ward's number one, however you want to see it, versus him and Sergey Kovalev. He won. Kovalev was one of the top fighters, and I said it in one of my videos a couple months back. I guess they fought in November, that whoever won this fight would be number one pound for pound on my list. So it's no any guessing from left field. Haven't did a pound for pound list in a minute, and it was so close that I could be like 1A and 1B, to be honest, with the Kovalev thing as well. I picked Kovalev to win the fight, but he didn't. He came up a little short, kind of gassed down the stretch, and Andre Ward seemed to hit another gear to get him back in that fight after that knockdown and pretty much figure Kovalev out. But that's no really pun intended on Kovalev. He doesn't have all the glory names on this record where you be like it's flamboyant, but he has a lot of legitimate guys on his record. As far as a lot of people thought Nathan Cavalier would upset him. Of course, Andre Ward, Isaac Chumama, whatever, I can't pronounce his name. He was a solid fighter. And John Pascal twice, Bernard Hopkins, however you want to see it, old man or not. So he has some names on this record, and he's willing to fight anybody. So he takes that spot from me. Number 3, Terence Crawford. Can't ignore what he did. Having the kahunas to step up and go over to Scotland or the UK, wherever the fuck Ricky Burns fight, and take that title from Ricky Burns when he clearly robbed Ray Beltran. And a lot of other fishy business goes over there with Ricky Burns fighters as well. When Adrian Broner, right before that, was the king in that division, he wasn't willing to go over to Scotland and fight Ricky Burns. Terence Crawford did it, after all the bullshit. He beat Victor Postol. He beat a gold medalist in Yorgis Gamboa. I don't want to hear he's too small or whatever shit like that. He beat him, He's fighting another gold medalist in Felix Diaz. That's 2 in a row early in his career. And if you didn't know, the reason he signed with Top Rank is because of the number 10 fighter on this pound for pound list told Top Rank that it's a guy that outpointed me in sparring and in the amateurs named Terence Crawford. He needs to be scooped up. He told Cameron Duncan, and the rest is history. So he should thank Mikey Garcia for helping him get where he is. And that's real shit. Number 4, you got Vasyl Lomachenko. Easily, skill. If we're doing skill for skill, he easily could be number 1 in my opinion. I like Lomachenko. When he first came, I thought he was disrespecting the sport by not paying his dues. I think he gave up some of his advance or signing money to back to Top Rank to get him on a fast track to a world title. And, it worked out for him. He got beat by Salido. I was rooting for Salido. But I seen something in that fight that showed, this guy never been 12 before. And he almost knocked this man out that weighed 10, 20, 25 more pounds than him. And I say he's legit. I think that crash course versus Orlando Salido really supplanted him as a top 10 pound for pound fighter. I know he was 1-1 at the time. Just all that school of hard knocks type of fight with Salido, everything he took away from that fight, he built on it, and I think it made him the fighter that he is today. Very confident, best all-around, complete fighter, still boxing with the inside, the mid-range, the long-range game, and he can get defensive if he needs to. Good fighter. A lot of people say, well, he doesn't have the flash, the pizzazz, whatever you want to call it, to his resume. But he fought Salido to a close fight. He fought Gary Russell, who might be the tops in his division weight class right now. He beat Rocky Martinez, he beat Nicholas Walters. So his resume is already filled with good names and cachet as well. Then you got Roman Chocolatito Gonzales, number 5. Just took a fight on a Thailand guy who just beat him. He was tops on my pound for pound list a while ago, or close to the top. He's had a little spill in the close fight. Not mad at him. He lost, but he doesn't fall too far. But the move up in weight and challenge himself to be great in the weight class still keeps him in the top 5 pound for pound, even though moving up in weight seems to be his equalizer. On number 6, recognized and the best current pound for pound fighter in the welterweight division out of the young guys, Keith Thurman. You know, he beat Danny Garcia, he beat Sean Porter, even though he only fought once last year with Sean Porter. Still was the biggest fight in the welterweight division that went down that year. Then he beats Danny Garcia, and we see where else he's on the fast track to. Possibly a showdown at the end of the year with Errol Spence Kell Brook winner, possibly a showdown with Lamont Peterson or Sean Porter rematch coming up real soon. So he's on a fast track to continue to do well as well. Manny Pacquiao, number 7. You know, a lot of people are probably shocked that I have Manny Pacquiao still on the list. He's still active, and he still seems to have the skills to still compete. And still, he's probably top 3 in his weight class. Probably number 2, 3, or 4, depending on who you ask. So I can't ignore a living legend who still has it. It still has the skills and the coordination to go with it. Number 8, Canelo Alvarez. And a lot of people say, well, he's a pussy, he ducked Golovkin. But his resume from top to bottom is better than Golovkin. His popularity is better than Golovkin. You have to have some type of notoriety and popularity to be on this list. In my opinion, he has it. He has a lot of popularity. You know, he beat Austin Trout after Austin Trout, I think, beat Miguel Cotto, or right around that time. You know, he beat Erislandy Lara, however you want to look at it. You know, he lost to Floyd, he stepped up and did that. He beat Miguel Cotto, you know. He beat Lyman Smith, you know. And now he's fighting Chavez Jr. in a money grab type of fight, but it's only going to build his profile even more. Then you got Yamaka. I can't pronounce his name, number 9. You know, he got 2 draws on his record early in his career, but if you look at his resume, you know, stretch of a good fights. You know, he had a split decision here and there, a lot of TKOs, a lot of knockouts, a lot of unanimous decisions. Everything, you know, he's done. He's been a staple in his weight class, filled with big names, Rasheed Warren, Jamie McNeil, and a couple other guys. And you know, he can climb up this list by fighting a lot of bigger names in this weight class and coming up. And I had to show him some love on this pound for pound list, because, you know, it really wasn't anybody, you know, better than him at this point. You know, better than his resume has indicated. He fought a lot of solid guys in this division. A lot of people say, who the fuck is he? Well, you're going to know who he is now once he started to fight outside of Japan a little bit. If he comes to the United States, he beat Victor Archinian, and he got a lot to do. You know, Lee Haskins is in that division. You know, another good UK fighter that people are probably familiar with. So, you know, he's on the rise, and I had to show him some love. You know, over Gennady Golovkin, I'll explain those in a little bit. Then you got Mikey Garcia coming in number 10. A lot of people say, Mikey Garcia, he only beat that guy. But you forget what Mikey Garcia did before this, you know. He beat Orlando Salillo, knocking him down like 4 or 5 times, I think, you know. You know, he was the king of multiple weight divisions. He's going to conquer this weight division as well. He's going to be the Corella and Linares winner regardless, you know. So his skills and his resume before he had a layoff, he's just impeccable. Now that he's back, I could put him back in my top 10. As far as, you know, Gennady Golovkin not being on here, like I said before, who has he beaten that's close to being a top 10 pound for pound fighter? Honestly, who has he beaten? Danny Jacobs is the closest he fought, and arguably he lost that fight. When he stepped up in competition, he started to look ordinary. It's not that, you know, he's getting old. It's that he's facing better competition. And he's never was a top 10 pound for pound fighter to me. It's like a NCAA football team or another team, you know, playing a whole bunch of cupcakes the whole season. And then when you make it to the championship game and you find out you're playing another real team, is the difficulty is harder. You know? That's what it was. Gennady Golovkin. He didn't beat anybody that's good. They pumped him up. They tried to push Curtis Stevens. They probably pushed David Lemieux. They tried to push Martin Murray, Matthew Macklin. What has those guys did in their career since then? Absolutely nothing. Daniel Gill, where did he go? You know, nothing. Kell Brook, a welterweight gave him his hardest fight in his career, other than Casinoma. So look at that part. He has to do something. You know, people say, well, he's trying to get Canelo Alvarez. You got to compromise to become the king. You have to get something up. Floyd did it with Oscar. Canelo did it with Floyd. You know, it happens. You have to compromise. Until he does that, we won't know how good he is. So he's not getting on my list, period. Gennady, he's been too inactive. You know, that's just my point. The other guy in Japan with 12 knockouts that's supposed to be want to fight Chocolito in one of the toughest fights Chocolito's career. 12 fights, 12 knockouts. Got to keep going. He's right there at that fringe edge. He'll be arriving pretty soon. You know, other than that, I don't see too many guys that's deserving to be up here. This your boy CJ.